Hey everybody, this is Jack Hammer of the Santa Rosa Press Democrat here live at Santa Clara after 49ers and day 2 of training camp here for the 2022 season. Really quick before we get started, just want to shout out a few folks over in the comment section. We have the notorious Gav. Gav's coming all the way from over in Wales, joining us from across the pond tonight. And then also we have Hella Average. He says, "Let's go." And let's get right into it. It was an interesting day today at training camp. The 49ers defense definitely winning the day. As we go through it, you'll notice a lot about the defense and how much trouble they gave the offense throughout practice today. And it really starts off with, like always, let's get right into the quarterbacks. Trey Lance, he had a bit of a rough day today. Everybody knew coming into this season that there was going to be some ups and downs with Lance. There was going to be good days, there was going to be bad days. And with Lance, it's not even always a good day to a bad day. It's just a good half to a bad half, or vice versa. And today it was a little bit of up and down. Overall, he was able to get out there. He struggled with his accuracy really at the beginning of practice. Got it together a little bit, but still just wasn't really his best day. He was only able to go 7 of 15. He had an interception as well. The second-year quarterback was throwing behind receivers early on. He had a deep out route on the right side that was up high and behind the receiver that was uncatchable. He later had, I believe it was Juwan Jennings on an quick in-route, easy pass, threw it way behind him. Just a couple of really bad throws early on. And then, on the interception, that was a Jimmy Garoppolo special if there ever was one. Lance dropped back to pass. He had Brandon Ayuk coming across the middle and just didn't see Jimmy Ward sitting right in front of him and threw the ball right into Ward's chest for an easy interception there for Jimmy Ward. It wasn't all bad, though, for Lance today. He did show off, did some things well, showed off his mobility. He had a couple of really nice scrambles to his left. The 49ers offensive line was struggling at times with protection, but Lance was able to get out from that and makes a couple of really nice plays down the left sideline with scrambles. And it wasn't just that. He also did a really nice job in the second half of practice. They do 2 team periods usually where they go and they work as a team, then they take a little bit of a break, do some special teams, and then come back and do the second half of their team drills. That first half was rough. They came back from that, and Lance did a really nice job on one of the first plays of that second half of team drills. A lot of pressure around him, did a good job of stepping up, sliding to his left, and he was able to find Brandon Ayuk, who was running across the field from his right to his left. Really nice completion. And then also he had a really nice throw. I think it was his last throw of team period. It was to the right sideline. Lance dropped back. It was a deep out route to Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk, he threw the ball really early, a lot of anticipation, and Ayuk was able to get the ball right on the sidelines. Just a really nice play between the two of them, really nice connection. So all that hard work that they've been talking about, those two putting in during the offseason, showed up today on that play in particular, even on the one where he slid to his left. There was really a couple of really nice plays there from Lance and Ayuk. For me, I think one of the other than the one where he moved to his left, I think probably one of the most impressive throws from Lance was shortly after that one where he had to move over to his left and hit Ayuk. He drops back and he has a lot of pressure coming up right into his face, right between the guards. A lot of pressure in his face, and Lance was able to stand in there and throw it right over the middle to Juwan Jennings for a nice strike. So while it was a little bit of an up and down day, it wasn't all bad. Like I said, it was a decent day for Lance. Had a couple of really good throws, a couple of tough ones. And we're going to get into some of the reasons why, because the defense had a really strong day. So we'll definitely get into that. Really quick, I got a good comment over here from that Niner guy that I want to get to. He says, "Jack, what's up, dude? Can you explain to people why Trey not having a great day on day 2 of camp is not a time to freak out? People are losing their minds, LOL." Well, you said it right there. It's day 2. He's a starter for the first time in his career. It's only the second practice like this where, in training camp, you're going to have some ups and downs throughout this time. You got to remember when Jimmy Garoppolo was here, I know he won a lot of games, but he also had a lot of practices that were very similar to what we saw today. His completion percentage would usually be a little bit better than 7 of 15, but it's early. It's early on. Let's let Lance settle in. If we're still talking about practices like this for the next couple of weeks, then it'd be time to freak out. I mean, there are some things that I'm concerned about. We haven't really seen him get down the field yet with the ball. There's definitely some issues, it seems, early on with struggling with accuracy. It seems like he cleans that up as practice goes on. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Yesterday's practice was interesting because yesterday all the quarterbacks were really efficient, Trey Lance included. Today, not so much. And part of the reason was they were trying different. They instead of having all the targets be short, today they moved things down the field a little bit further, which I think led to some of the incompletion, some of the lower completion percentage from Lance. And like I said, there's some really nice plays by the defense that we're going to get into as well. Let's get it. Says I heard O-line was bad though. All the quarterbacks struggled today. The O-line struggled in the first half of practice, not so much the second half. And not all the quarterbacks struggled, just two of them. And we'll get into that a little bit in a second. So let's take a look. Really quick, I have another question. We're going to get to this in a little bit. Matthew Mears asks, Jack, what's your honest take on McGlinchey? Does his weight look light? I've heard he looks light, and he looks in 2020 game shape. I don't know what to believe. Believe it. He definitely looks light. McGlinchey's talked about this himself. He mentioned that last week on a podcast that he did, that he's lost some weight this year. He's not quite as heavy as he was. He was coming back from the torn quad tendon, and because of that he's tried to lose a little bit of weight to have less weight on his frame, which is going to help his knee and stuff like that. So he's definitely lighter. We'll get into the performance of McGlinchey and what we've seen so far, but he's definitely coming along. The 49ers have a plan for him as far as how they're going to be bringing him along, and so far it hasn't been. I would say that McGlinchey is on pace to be ready for week 1 with everything the way that it looks so far. As far as Lance moving to the left because Burford and Moore struggled at the right side, there's a lot of pressure all over the place with them. It's kind of all around. I don't, when I look at this and I see this question with Moore and Burford, I think it's a little bit more of Jalen Moore. I really like Jalen Moore as a guard. He does a really good job in pass protection at guard. He struggles on the outside, and that's where the 49ers are having to play him right now because of McGlinchey being out, with Brunskill playing center, Jalen Moore being in there at right guard, or excuse me, Spencer Burford at right guard. So that puts Jalen Moore on the outside. It's good in that you see that Moore is playing ahead of Justin School, but right now he's struggling out there on the edge. And the 49ers, you got to remember, they're throwing guys like Nick Bosa and Kamoko Ture and Samson Ebicom at you from the edge, and so that's a pretty tough look there as well. So see a lot of questions coming up with the offensive line. We're going to get there. I want to run through the quarterbacks really quick because we did have the comment about all the quarterbacks struggling, but that's not the case. Like I said, Lance was 7 of 15, but then you have Nate Sudfeld. He's the veteran backup. He's the one veteran in this group, and he had a solid day today. He was 12 of 14. He did have an interception. But the interception wasn't even really Sudfeld's fault. On the interception that Sudfeld did throw, he dropped back. There was he was looking deep. Nothing was open. He went to hit his check down, which was Danny Gray running a crossing route from his right to left. Hit Gray in the hands. Ball bounced off his hand up in the air, and the linebacker was able to make a diving grab to pick it off. So, overall, not a pretty good day for Sudfeld. Here's the difference. Sudfeld, they're trying to work the deep shots, but he's still taking mostly the underneath routes. Like I talked about earlier, Lance and Purdy trying to get deep down the field. Sudfeld's just taking what the defense is giving him. This is the thing you're going to get from him. He's showing that the efficiency, really like what you want to see from your backup quarterback. If you have to go to your backup, you want a guy that's just not going to lose the game for you. He's going to be able to keep the ball moving, and that's kind of what we've seen out of Sudfeld for the first 2 days. He's mobile. He's fat. He's a lot quicker than I think people realize. And he's just not doing anything stupid. Yesterday, he had the one deep shot down the left sideline. So he's really playing well for the 49ers right now. And, he's going to be – I had a lot of questions about him as far as the backup. We'll see how training camp plays out and once we get to the preseason games. But right now, Sudfeld is looking decent. And then that brings us to the other quarterback, which is the rookie Brock Purdy. Purdy was actually got the award for being the first quarterback for the 49ers to throw an interception this year in training camp. He had an interception on a throw to Juwan Jennings. What happened on that play was that Purdy play action, rolling out to his left, bootlegging out to his left. He had Jennings wide open. Jennings was running kind of an over route about 10, 15 yards down the field. And Purdy had him wide open and just threw it behind him. And because the ball was behind him, it got tipped up in the air, or actually it didn't get tipped up in the air, but it was behind him. And because it was behind him, it allowed that corner that was chasing him to be able to break on it, get in front, and get over the top of Jennings and pick that ball off. So it was a really nice interception by Kadar Holman, who was in coverage on that. But if it had just been a good ball, Purdy just put that out in front of Jennings where it was supposed to be, would have been a really nice gain and a really nice throw by Purdy. So that's the slim margin of error that you get in the NFL compared to in college. The second interception, that was just a bad decision all around. Purdy there was some pressure, did a really nice job. He stepped up and he slid over to his right. He had a couple of defenders in his way, so there was really nowhere for him to go as far as scrambling. And instead of it at that point just throwing the ball out of bounds and eating it for the next play, he tried to launch a deep ball way down the middle of the field to Marcus Johnson. The ball just hung up in the air, and safety Taylor Hawkins came in, made the play, and intercepted it. That's one of those things, you try it here in preseason, but or in training camp, you try to get the ball out to that guy. You got to hope that in the game situation, he's going to be smart enough to just throw that ball out of bounds. Because remember, in the NFL, once you break the tackle box, you can just throw the ball out of bounds with no problem. Tried to make a throw there, and it was an interception by Hawkins. A really nice play. It wasn't all bad, though, for Purdy, kind of like I said with Trey Lance. It's not all bad with these guys. They're taking lots of throws. He had a couple of nice ones. It was highlighted really by a deep strike that he threw to fellow rookie Danny Gray. On the play, Gray was running a deep post route. We'll get to this one in a minute in terms of what's in the one piece about this play, because it shouldn't have counted. It wouldn't have happened if it was a preseason game. But you got to give Purdy credit for doing a nice job stepping up into the pocket and launching the ball deep down the middle, hitting Gray in stride on a deep post route. If you remember back during rookie minicamp, there was a play similar to this that he had Gray running on a deep post, and he threw it out there to him, and he was behind, and Gray had to stop and turn and catch it. This time, Gray was able to keep running, reach up and grab it, and from where I stand, I couldn't see if he was able to break free and run into the end zone, but it was a really nice play from Purdy. So that's the quarterback wrap. Let me see what we've got over here in the comment section. Yeah, I don't know about a noodle arm. I mean, the interception was obviously bad, but he also had a really good throw down the middle on a play earlier on for a nice touchdown. The interception was just a bad decision. Shouldn't have even tried that. Part of the reason why the ball was underthrown was because it was just so late, because he just waited so long, because he kind of got out there and you could see he wasn't sure if he was going to want to run or what he was going to do with it, and then he decided to just huck it up in the air. So bad decision there. Let's see. Matthew Mears asks, or a bomber says, Matthew Mears, did Big Trent participate? No, Trent Williams was not here today. He had the day off. He's tending to a personal matter. Let's see. Let's see real quick. Just looking through your comments really quick to see if there was anything to address that we're not going to talk about later on. Victorious Gav asks, Jack, does Jordan Mason make the team, or should we put him on the practice squad? This is going to be a real interesting one, because I didn't put this in the report today, but I will say Jeff Wilson Jr., I did write in my notes that he looked really explosive on a couple of his carries early in practice. Got the ball, and he looks better than he did last year. Last year, obviously, he was coming off of the knee surgery, so he was a little slowed by that. But today, so far through the first two practices, he looked much more explosive, much more like the guy that the 49ers had around in 2019 and 2020. So it's really looking good for Jeff Wilson Jr. We'll see how that plays out with Jordan Mason. Mason's a really explosive back in his own right. I'm just not sure if he has the versatility right now to make this roster with Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, and Tyrion Davis-Price in the mix. And Davis-Price is looking really good as well. Very explosive. None of the running backs made the list today because they really didn't do a whole lot. There's a little bit more throwing in today's practice. But Tyrion Davis-Price continues to look much more explosive than I thought he was. When I was watching this film, he looks really good. I'm really excited to see what Tyrion Davis-Price does when they put the pads on and they get out there for a preseason game and there's tackling going on. I did not, Moses. I didn't really get a chance to check it out too much. The view today, we're on the other side. There wasn't as much room on the sidelines, and so from where we were standing, the defense was in our way quite a bit. And I was trying to stand behind the offense. That's where I prefer to watch from. And so I didn't I didn't see a whole lot of Ambry Thomas. I didn't see the ball go in his direction very much today either. So I will keep an eye on it better. I won't be able to make practice tomorrow, but I'll be back up here on Saturday for the Saturday practice. So I'll keep an eye on that for you. We're going to get to Aaron Banks a little bit. He looks okay. He's coming along. He looks better than he did last year, but there was definitely one play with his that we're going to talk about in a minute. The undrafted free agent of the day. Undrafted free agent of the day. That's a good question. I don't have one of those right now because it didn't seem like any of the undrafted free agent guys really stood out today. But if I was going to pick one, I'd say Jordan Mason, just because I was able to see him get in there a little bit. I saw him make a really nice reception during the team period, just an easy route on the side, but you saw his explosiveness up the sideline. He had a really nice run as well. So a good day for Jordan Mason. Let me see really quick. We have Jack Hammer. What was your first impression about today's starting offensive line? Well, we need pads to get a better idea of where it is. Well, you got to remember today's starting offensive line, and let's just jump into it right now because you guys keep asking about it. So obviously that's a big part of the equation here that everybody wants to know about is the offensive line. So let's take a look at it because right now you got to realize, I think, that the offensive line the Ferners are putting out there right now, that's not going to be their starting offensive line week one when they get the season started. You have, like Kyle Shanahan has said on Tuesday, there's going to be a competition at center between Jake Brendel and Daniel Brunskill. So with that competition at center, along with Mike McGlinchey, not yet where the Ferners need him to be. When it gets to team period, McGlinchey's not participating, and then you have Brunskill, who yesterday was running with the twos. Today he was rotating in with the starters. Brendel got the first snaps. Brunskill rotated in with them. So there's definitely a competition taking place there, and Brunskill, I think, is going to eventually win that job. So with that being said, if Brunskill is at center, now you've got a hole at right guard. Right guard is mostly going to be made up of either Spencer Burford, Jalen Moore. Those are your two main combatants there for the right guard spot. And then you have McGlinchey out at right tackle. Well, if McGlinchey not on the field and Brunskill playing center, you've got Burford at right guard, and now you've got to kick Jalen Moore out to right tackle. That's not going to be what it's going to look like. When they get to the season, I think you're going to see a starting offensive line consist of Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Daniel Brunskill. I think Spencer Burford's going to beat out Jalen Moore at right guard, and then you'll have Mike McGlinchey out at right tackle. So, expect to see Burford and Moore continue to battle it out at right guard once McGlinchey is healthy, especially if Brunskill wins that center competition, as I've said. So I talked about this quite a bit prior to training camp, that the thing to watch here was that if Brunskill was starting to move back and forth, rotate in and work at center, it was going to create some movement along the rest of the line, especially with McGlinchey not practicing early on. We're seeing that take place right now. There's going to be you got to remember, we're a long ways away from week one. I think the center position will probably be settled within the next couple of weeks. Brunskill's played at right guard a lot. The Ferners know what they have in him there. So they can let this thing play out a little bit, and then if they decide that Brendel's going to be the guy, they can move back. They can move Brunskill back to right guard and know he's going to be able just fine, and they know what they're going to get there. So right now, don't worry too much about this offensive line. I know it's important for these guys to work together, to get all on the same page. That's happening at times, not in the team drills. That happens during their one-on-ones, during their individual period, like today during individual. The offensive linemen and tight ends were working together, the tackles and tight ends. The centers and guards are working in another area. So it's all coming together. It's early on. It's day 2. We knew there was going to be a bunch of movement. Kyle Shanahan noted that on Tuesday, like I said, as far as the competition center, but he also talked about all the mixing and matching that they were going to be doing on the right side. We've seen that happen so far. Expect to see that continue as we go through the early stages here of training camp. And I would say it's probably going to be week 3 of camp, right around the time we get to week 1 of the preseason, that we start to see some settling when it comes to the offensive line and where guys are going to line up. Let's see what else we've got. I just saw Amin in here somewhere. Where is he? There is he. There he is, right there. He says, Amin the Dream says, "What's up, Jack? I was at camp today and I saw you during 11 on 11s at camp, and Traverse Ward has been looking really good, and same thing with Mosley. The defense looks really good. I see the question from 49er First Takes from Aaron. We're going to get to that in a minute, and it's a mix of everything. Traverse Ward, he looked really good today, especially. Mosley had made the two big pass breakups yesterday. Today it was time for his partner to get it done. Really good day for Traverse Ward. The 49ers made Ward their lone high-price free agent signing this during free agency, and the veteran corner, he showed why today. Had a couple of really nice pass breakups. The first one came on a throw to the middle to Brandon Ayuk. On this play, Lance probably would have been sacked if it had been in game situation, but he was able to kind of move around, and because the defensive linemen slowed themselves down, he tried to hit the ball over the middle to Ayuk. Ward made a really nice play there. The second one, though, that was a beautiful play by Traverse Ward. Juwan Jennings running a go route down the right sidelines. Looked like he might have had a step on Ward. Lance threw the ball out to him. Ward was able to catch up to him, run stride for stride, and right as the ball was coming into, looked like it was going to be a completion to Jennings, Ward was able to get his hand out in front, bat the ball away, and get the pass break up. That's a situation where if you look at that, the throw from Lance was good. It was a good throw. It was going to be right in the bucket. The coverage was just better. So really good day for the 49ers defense and on that one for Ward. You carry that out and you look, yesterday, like I said, you had Emmanuel Mosley was responsible for the only two pass breakups or the two incompletions that were thrown by Trey Lance yesterday. Then you take it to the safety spot, and all three 49ers safeties made some plays today. Through two practices, the 49ers defense hasn't missed a beat without Talanoa Hufanga. They're stepping in to replace Jaquiski Tartt. Hufanga's been solid to start camp. Today made a terrific play to break up a throw from Lance to Ray McLeod. Lance was trying to hit McLeod on the right side, and the ball just kind of hung up there, and Hufanga was able to get there, make a play on the ball, and knock it away. That's the one thing I'm going to say about Lance is this guy has a really strong arm. There's times when his ball to the outside doesn't get there with the same velocity that you expect. Now, the one that he threw to Brandon Ayuk that I talked about earlier on the sideline, that was a rope. He ripped that one in there. But there's other times when you see it and the ball just seems like it's taken forever to get out there to the receiver. So there's a little bit of inconsistency with that. We'll see how that plays out through the rest of training camp. But Hufanga looks solid with the breakup by McLeod. And then you have Jimmy Ward. He's been all over the field during the first couple of practices. And today, like I said earlier, right place, right time, kind of sitting there right in that hole, right in the middle of the field. Trey Lance doesn't see him. He tries to fit the ball into Ayuk, and it hits Ward right in the chest for an easy interception. Goes the other way. Like I said, that was a Jimmy Garoppolo special if I've ever seen one. And then you've got George Odom. That's the third safety there. He had a really good day as well. He was all over a pass early on. Nate Sudfeld was trying to hit Brandon Ayuk over the middle. Odom saw it. He drove on the ball. Him and Ayuk collided at the catch point. Ayuk, though, was able to come down with a spectacular grab. But the thing there is Odom is in the right place, almost made the play. It was a really great catch by the wide receiver. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but a really good job there by George Odom today. And like I said earlier, Ayuk, he had that really nice catch, and then also there was the really nice throw from Lance to Ayuk along the right sideline, where he was able to get both feet in bounds. Beautiful throw, anticipation from Ayuk. So let me check out really quick and see if there's some more comments that we can get to as we go through this. I want to make sure. Okay, we got a bot in the house, but let's make sure we get them out of here. Spam, boom, gone. I see it. The Sentinel says, Richard Sherman predicts our secondary this year will break out. I hope so, and hearing the news today makes me hopeful. This is a really good secondary. It was a decent secondary last year that was just really needing one more guy to kind of give them a lockdown situation. Traverse Ward's that guy. Traverse Ward, when it comes to man coverage, he's been all over everybody. I don't think the Flyers have completed a ball in his direction yet over the first 2 days. So it's a really good This secondary looks really good. You add that to the pass rush that they have. It's going to be a tough situation for opposing defenses against this 49ers offense, I think. Or excuse me, for opposing offenses against this 49ers defense. Once we get into the regular season, a lot of pressure going to be there on those guys. Another player that we need to talk about, is Drake Jackson, the rookie. I was kind of down on Drake Jackson. I was talking about, how during OTAs and minicamp about how when you watch Drake Jackson, he was a guy that was showing a ton of athleticism and burst and speed and all those types of things during individual drills, but it wasn't showing up during the team period. Well, that changed today. Jackson was lined up across from Justin School, and he just ripped right around. Got off the line of scrimmage on that deep throw that Purdy had to Danny Gray. I told you earlier I was going to come back to that one. That play wouldn't have happened if it was that throw would not have happened if it was a live action, because Jackson would have come away with a sack. He blew around, and he had a straight line to Purdy, but he held up, and so Purdy was able to step up and launch the ball. But that was the first time I've seen Jackson be able to get off the ball, beat an offensive lineman, and it was just a really nice rep for Drake Jackson. A big positive for him, something to keep an eye on as you move forward. Good play there for the rookie. Nick Bosa came away with what would have been a sack. It was the first play of offensive team drills. He was able to come around the right side. He beat George Kittle, who was actually in protecting him. Just blew around George Kittle for a sack. You guys asked me about Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks had one play today where he got beat bad by Maurice Hurst. The veteran was able to shake him early, had a straight line to Lance. He led up, and this is the play. If you follow on Twitter, if you're watching, seeing some of the reports in camp, you've seen the reports where Trey Lance, after the struggles early on or during the struggles in the first half, had a couple of nice back-to-back completions, one of those being fit and a ball into George Kittle in the tight spot. This was the play. Hurst beat Banks. He had a straight line to him, slowed up, and Lance did a good job of finding Kittle over the middle. But that probably would have been a sack as well if it hadn't been for Hurst letting up. Let's see. So we got into the offensive line, got into a few of the things on the defense. Danny Gray, real quick. Let's talk about Danny Gray. He had that really long pass I mentioned already from Brock Purdy. But other than that, it was kind of a tough day for him. He had the pass that bounced off of his hands for an interception that we talked about earlier. And then they tried to call a shot play for him deep down the middle. Charvarius Ward stride for stride with him, though, and the ball fell incomplete. There was no chance at it for Gray. Ward's just too fast. And, it's a little bit different when you're playing against a guy like Charvarius Ward compared to a bunch of rookies like you were during minicamp. But, maybe it wasn't a bad day at all overall, actually, when you think about it for Gray. Ward's locked down every 49ers receiver he's faced through the two practices so far. So why not do it to you too? That's, good learning experience for Gray. He's going to come along. Remember, it's day 2. Got a long ways to go before we get to before we even get to the first week of the first game of preseason. So get the work in, get your reps in. Keep working on it, and that's what you need to do at this point. You can't really focus and say this thing's broken. I don't think there's anything that's broken about this team right now. It's a pretty solid group. And then one other thing I want to mention really quick, and then I'll take a look and see if there's any questions from you guys that I can answer before we wrap it up. Charles Omenihu, Eric Armstead, he didn't participate today. So with him not in the lineup, Charles Omenihu, who plays out at defensive end a lot, he slid down to defensive tackle. This shouldn't be a big surprise because Omenihu spent a lot of time inside while he was a member of the Houston Texans. 49ers made that trade last year, bringing him over. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Omenihu fill the role that's left open by the departure of Arden Key in free agency, meaning when the 49ers go into their nickel situation, they need that extra speed rusher inside, having it be Charles Omenihu that fills that role, and having a defensive line of Nick Bosa, Charles Omenihu, Eric Armstead, and Samson Ebukam. That would just be really tough for opposing offenses when those quarterbacks would be under a lot of pressure. So that's kind of the way I see it. We'll see where this plays out, but definitely something to keep an eye on as we get into as we get through training camp and they start going on. But that was a difference today. We'll was a man who slid inside in place of Eric Armstead, who was taking the day off. Richard wants to know how did Javon Kinlaw look? I didn't really spend much time looking at the defense today during individuals. I spent most of the day during individual time over with the offense, looking at the offensive line, the tight ends, quarterbacks, and wide receivers and running backs. But yesterday, when I was looking at the defensive line, I thought Kinlaw looked really good. He still looked. He was out there today. I don't know how he did in some of the drills, but yesterday he was able to beat Nick Bosa in the one-on-one get-off drill that they do. He looks solid. He looks like the only thing I will say with Kinlaw is when they have one drill where they run the hoop. It's a hoop that you run around, and that's a good test for your lateral agility because you got to be able to bend and turn. He struggled a little bit on that going to his left yesterday. I didn't see him running it to the right, but when I did see him running the hoop to the left, I saw what looked like it was a little bit ginger. It didn't look like he was able to quite drive on it like you'd want to see. So that's something to keep an eye on. But Kinlaw looks like he's ready to go. He looks like he's definitely showing some excitement out there. Keep an eye on Javon Kinlaw. I think he's going to have a big year. He's coming off. He worked this offseason with the same folks that did the rehab for Nick Bosa. So I think that he's in line to have a solid comeback year, and the 49ers are going to really need him to do that, especially when it comes to in their base defense, because the loss of DJ Jones are looking for Javon Kinlaw to be the guy that steps up. And this might be the year that he finally does. So let's see what else we've got. What's happening, Dirk? Good to have you on here. He says, Hammer Time. Dirk's a member of the Toolbox, so that's awesome. I had somebody ask me yesterday, and I wasn't able to get it to the answer to it. But if you want to join the Toolbox, if you're watching this on YouTube on your web browser, if you go to my channel, there's a spot that says join now. You just click that join. You pick the level that you want. It's pretty hard. On the Apple phone, I can't get that to work there, but it's only on the browser. So if you want to become a member of the Toolbox, jump on your computer, get on your browser, go to my channel, and you can hit the little join now button, become a member. All kinds of different levels there. So Dirk, good to have you on. It's been a good day today, and I think this is a good one right here. Aaron says this defense is the best thing for Lance to go against. Absolutely. I don't think it's a negative at all for him to have to play against a defense as good as this. It's about as good as you're going to play in the NFL, I think. And like I said, today was a down day. He was 7 of 15. He was trying to push the ball down the field a little bit more pressure around him as a result. It's going to be some ups and downs. And so, like I said, not making too much of yesterday. I said yesterday was a good day. Today was a bad day, mediocre day, I guess. You put the two together and you're okay. There's some good, some bad even today. Some of the stuff today that he did with his legs kind of makes up for some of the passes as well. So just wait. We're only 2 days in. This is 2 days. Day 2. No time to really get if you're saying that Lance is a bust, if you're freaking out about how Lance is going to do this season 2 days into practice, I'm going to tell you, just sit down, take a couple deep breaths. We'll see how tomorrow goes. We'll see how Saturday goes. We've got about 3 more weeks before we get to the first preseason game, and then another 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks before the first game after that. So there's a long way to go before week 1. Relax, take some time, enjoy the ride. It's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together. I think the defense has the talent to help this offense get its feet underneath it, and it's gonna. We'll see how this thing continues to progress out here at the stadium. We have Jay Tan says, Jack Charles is my breakout player. Charles Amenhu, yes, that's a good one, definitely. And then how do the linebackers look? They look good. Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair, Dre Greenlaw, all out there doing good. Segun Alube, one of the rookie undrafted free agents. Somebody asked me earlier what undrafted free agent stood out. There's one for you right there. Segun Alube is the one who had the pickoff of the throw from Nate Sudfeld, the one that bounced off the hands of Danny Gray. So there you go. It's another undrafted free agent that looked good. Segun Alube, the undrafted free agent linebacker, I believe he's out of San Diego State. So good one there. So that's the show today. We got 35 minutes. I want to say thanks to everybody in the comment section who took the time to watch this. Thank you to all of you who are watching this afterwards. If you can do me a favor, I need you guys to do a couple of things. First off, go to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. make that a favorite on your web browser so you can check it out every day. Every day that I'm here, there's going to be a write-up about practice afterwards. And as we're ramping up into the season, there will be a new post on that channel on a regular basis. I do it every day now at this point. So that's step one. Step two, do me an even bigger favor and hit that like button here so that you can hit that algorithm for YouTube and get this information out in front of more folks. Also hit that subscribe button, trying to grow this channel. Like, subscribe, also hit the bell notification so you know when we go live. So that's it for today, folks. I will be back on Saturday. I won't be able to make it here today. I got some other things that I need to attend to tomorrow, but I will be here on Saturday for practice. So check back on Saturday for the practice report then. And it's Thursday night. So you know what Thursday night means? Thursday night means hammer and nail. So I'll be joining Jesse Naylor at 5 o'clock tonight for the Hammer and Nail show right here. So check it out. Take care, everybody. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.